All right.
Was that good?
It was good. It was good. All right. Hey everybody, AJ McWhorter here with the Hobie BOS Open Series anchored by Power Pole, and we just wrapped up the Watts Bar Lake event in Knoxville, Tennessee. We want to give a big shout out to Knoxville for being such an amazing host town. They hosted our Tournament of Champions last year, and now we got to utilize one of their other great fisheries surrounding this city here on Watts Bar. This city has such a great vibe, whether you're downtown, going out to a lot of their great restaurants, but really there's just so much to do outdoors here, whether it's getting on one of the amazing rivers in this area, or obviously you're right outside the Smoky Mountains. So it is an awesome place. Make sure you check out Knoxville, Tennessee, whether you want to do something in town or outdoors. Our host hotel and our award ceremony is the Staybridge Suites in West Knoxville. Great place if you're ever looking for a good hotel to kind of mix and match being either downtown or enjoying some of these great fisheries. Want to give a big shout out to all of our sponsors: Power Pole, the Far Wide app, Bassin, Stolquist, Aftco, Hobie Eyewear, Engel Coolers, Dakota Lithium, Flambeau, Marine Mat, Sunline, Princeton Tech, St. Croix, Lowrance, Tacticam, Railblaza, and Daiwa. Want to also remind everybody that Broken Bow in Broken Bow, Oklahoma is just 2 weeks away. It's our first trip out to that part of the country. It's a really unique fishery. The anglers that are in that region of the country have got to fish other events there. It's a great place for kite fishing. There's some absolute giant bass in there, and there's some great numbers as well. It's going to be an awesome event. Go ahead and get signed up. Make sure you get your lodging all taken care of. We've got all of that posted on the HobieBOS.com site if you're having any questions or need some guidance getting into that event. Bringing it back to this event, we had 94 anglers that drove from all over the country through ice, snow, and freezing cold temperatures to get here. The water temperatures dropped this week. It was just cold. It was really kind of miserable for our anglers, and they still came out, fished hard. You all that follow them on social media, you got to see frozen guides and just frustrating conditions, but we're out here fishing and competing in whatever those conditions are. That's what these high-level competitions are all about, is beating the conditions and beating the other anglers to make your way into the top 10%. This was definitely a grind, but our anglers always find a way to showcase their abilities on these fisheries, and we can't wait to talk to these top 10 anglers on how they were able to make it happen through these tough conditions. Before we get into the top 10, we've got some extra prize opportunities that we're going to talk about. Bassin Magazine Big Bass held strong for day 2. Colin Lampkin had that 21-inch largemouth on day 1, and no one was able to surpass that. He's going to win $400 from Bassin Magazine. Colin drove down from Illinois, and he is already on his way home. We'll make a post with him and his big bass a little bit later this week, and he's got a $400 check coming to him for that tank of a largemouth that really showed what this fishery can do even in some tough conditions. But there was a lot of really nice smallmouth turned in, a lot in the upper 19s, mid 20s. They were just beautiful fish. The Tennessee River chain has amazing smallmouth, and they were definitely on showcase this weekend for those that could make them bite. Also want to give a big shout out to the winner of our Dakota Lithium's Power Move. That's for the angler that makes the biggest jump from day 1 to day 2. Now, we had a lot of anglers that blanked or caught 1 on day 1. So essentially all those anglers get tied for that position. So even though on Tourney X it might randomly say that you were 78th or 80th, but really everybody that blanked was 50th on day 1. So Lawrence Mellinger actually jumped 26 places from blanking on day 1 to finishing in 24th place. He had 4 fish today for 52.5 inches. So he's going to win a Dakota Lithium's Power Box. That comes equipped with a 10 amp hour lithium battery. It's an awesome accessory to have in the boat, at the camp, or even just when you're traveling to these events. He stayed when the conditions were tough, grinded it out, and he's the winner of our Dakota Lithium's Power Move. All right, so we're going to get into our top 10, and we're going to bring these anglers up, give them a chance to talk about their experience, and just hear from them about their time on Watts Bar. So in 10th place was 79 3/4 on day 1, 31 inches today for 110 3/4, taking home $950, Keith Freeze. Welcome to the podium, man.
Yeah, my first time here. I was excited to see you put Watts Bar on here because I'm from Kingston. This is sort of like my backyard. I get some time off from work. I go ahead and hit the river for a few hours. So I knew where to find the fish, but unfortunately they didn't want to cooperate today. They did yesterday. And I look forward to the rest of the season and hopefully being up here more. And I really appreciate all your guys' hard work. And it's fun to be with all these guys. And I don't know many of the top guys here, but hopefully I'll see you guys more up here.
Well, you wanted to get your season started at Seminole, but you had some bad luck on the road and didn't get to fish with us. How does it feel to get your season started here at home and end up with a top 10 finish?
Well, it was great. Yeah, I was really bummed out about Seminole. I tried it last year. It sort of bombed on me. And then I fished KBF, the Kissimmee events, didn't do too well, so I was stoked to go up to Seminole. And Monday night, my trailer decided to go ahead and a weld broke and destroyed my trailer. You were there to help me to pick up my kayak. Some local scrapped my trailer. I had to scramble to get a new trailer, and that whole week I was just really stressed out. And so I said, you know what, let's just wait for Watts Bar. I'm glad I did. And so this was my first event, and I look forward to doing more with you guys.
Absolutely. Well, you had 5 on day 1, had a good limit, only had 2 today. Did you think that 7 fish was going to get you paid in this event?
Actually, I didn't. I didn't look at the board until almost like 2 or 3 o'clock. Like probably about 1 or 2 o'clock, I'd say. And I was really nervous. I know there's some great people who can really, grind it out really hard and put some big numbers up there. But I think if the weather would have held up more, I think there would have been more fish. But this cold weather and the water going up would just scatter them more and made it harder to catch fish.
Yeah. Keith, is there anybody you want to thank?
I like to thank all my 10-cat brothers I fish with. They're very competitive in my local stuff, so that makes me a better fisherman. And I've only been living in Tennessee for 2 years, and I really enjoy being down here. Other than that, I'd like to thank all the local smaller tackle shops that go ahead and make it possible to get me all my gear. And other than that, that's pretty much it.
How'd you finish in the 10-cat TDK combined tournament?
Well, I fished second yesterday.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks.
And congratulations on your top 10, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. All right, in 9th place, kind of an opposite of what Keith experienced. This angler had 31.5 on day 1 and 79 3/4 today for 111 1/4 total inches, taking home $1,000. Tariq Walker. Tariq, tell everybody where you're from, man.
I'm from Rand, West Virginia, but I live in Columbus, Ohio now. So.
Okay, all right. Is this first time down into this area?
No, it's not the first time, but
Okay.
first time fishing.
Fishing Watts Bar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you grinded a lot of events out last year, had some really good day 2s, especially at Norman. But, what did it take for you to kind of channel that after a tough day 1 and come out there and put up, one of the best limits of the entire tournament to earn your way in the top 10?
Well, yesterday was tough, and I grinded hard, and I just couldn't put nothing together. And then today, I fished off a point pretty good and caught a really nice smallie and fished some wood and put a limit together. And honestly, I didn't expect to be standing up here, but it worked out that way, and I appreciate it. So.
Hey, man, limits were hard to come by this week. getting 5 fish, whether it was day 1 or day 2, pretty much. As long as there was a couple other fish with that, solidified that you'd be in the top 10 and get paid. But now you've got your top 10. Had a pretty decent finish at Seminole overall for some points. You got your eyes on any other events that you might try to work your way into that Angler of the Year race or qualify for TOC this year?
Dardanelle.
Okay.
So.
All right. Just a couple months away. Hopefully the temperatures are better, and I know that bite's going to be pretty good. Dardanelle in April is going to be tough to beat. Yeah. Anybody you want to thank?
I need to thank my wife for letting me come. Also want to thank my buddy Brian Coyne for letting me put my boat on his trailer and bringing me down here with him. And I got to thank this guy back here, Mr. Isaacs. If it wasn't for him, I would not be fishing out of a kayak. He took me out, let me use one of his one day, and I fell in love with it. And yeah, so other than that, good to go.
That's awesome, man. We look forward to seeing you on the podium and at more events later this year.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, in the 8th spot, 49 3/4 on day 1, 62 1/4 on day 2, for a total of 112 inches, taking home $1,050. Fresh off his first berth to a Tournament of Champions, Mr. Tim Isaacs. Tim, tell everybody where you're from, sir.
I'm from Williamstown, West Virginia.
All right. How was your week down here on Watts Bar?
Considering I didn't catch a fish pre-fishing.
You were saving them for the weekend?
No, I just that's the only thing I can figure. I was just saving them for the weekend, but I only got to pre-fish on Friday, and I did have a bite. It was a crappie, but that was the only one I got. I had a bite, and the place I fished Saturday and today, I didn't pre-fish it. It was one of the first places I looked at when I started studying maps. It's looked pretty promising, I thought, because I like river fishing anyway. So it worked out. I never thought I'd be standing up here with a 8th place finish and only catching 7 fish. But
well, there was a guy that stood up in front of the camera a couple days before this tournament that was telling everybody that it might not take a limit 2 days to catch a check, and doing what you did and grinding and battling through the mental beat down that this lake was putting on people is what it took. So,
exactly.
You not only had to overcome the conditions, you had to overcome your mental, and then you still had to catch them. What did it take to catch them when it was that tough?
Just slow down.
Slow down.
I'm a very, very slow fisherman. I fish slower than probably anybody in here. I almost guarantee you that. But it's all finesse and slow.
Well, they cashed a check this time. Is there anybody you want to thank?
Fishing Online, Dakota Lithium, Hobie, you guys do an excellent job at what you're doing, so just keep it up.
Yes, sir. We'll look forward to seeing you. When's the next one we get to see you?
Probably Hartwell.
Okay. Yep, we'll be getting down to Anderson, South Carolina, and hitting Lake Hartwell in mid-May. So that's going to be a good one, and it'll be warm, which everybody's looking forward to, and it should have a lot of fish turned in on that.
That should be a good one.
Well, this is definitely a good finish for you, and I know you're going to be trying to get back into the Tournament of Champions, and
oh yeah,
we'll look forward to following you along this season.
All righty.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
All right, in the 7th spot, 81 1/4 on day 1, 35 inches on day 2, for 116 1/4, taking home $1,100. Joby Berry. Joby, tell everybody where you're from, man.
Well, I'm from Spring City, Tennessee, right here on Watts Bar, and I want to say hey to y'all. You guys have fished out of Ray Springs. It was quite crowded there on day 1. There's 15 of us.
Yeah, for those that don't know, there was this tournament that had 94 anglers, and the TVKA and 10 Cat combined tournament had 70 anglers. I would say that probably total there was roughly around 125 individual anglers that were fishing on this body of water. And like you said, it was a little busy out there on Saturday, and we all started later for day one, and you had a better day on day one. So what did it take on day one for you to make it happen?
Yeah, on day one, it was just a lot of finesse. Throw the dead ringer in the jig, filled the limit, cold up on the jig there at the end. Day two was opposite, couldn't get no bite on the finesse, and the two I caught was on the crankbait.
Okay. What changed today that, obviously you had a couple fish, but what changed that made the bite a little tougher for you today?
I think the water came up, and it's just like the fish scrambled, because there was a lot in the area I was fishing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you got a good top 10 finish. We've got a few more events around this area. You think you might see us at any other of these events
I
this year?
sure would love to.
Okay, well, we hope to see you, man. Is there anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming on down to Watts Bar. I love Watts Bar, and I like to see it on the big stage.
Yeah.
Wish it would have been fishing a little better, but it's all right.
For somebody that, watched this event, Watts Bar for a Tennessee River fishery doesn't get the name recognition or the events that a lot of the other ones do. What time of year would you say is your favorite time to fish Watts Bar as a local angler?
I'd say middle of March, the real later in the pre-spawn.
Yeah, that pre-spawn bite, lake's kind of coming up a little bit, warming up a little bit.
Yeah, when it comes up, they'll push them bigger fish on up, shallower.
Okay.
I caught all my fish shallow.
Okay. All right, so they're already kind of starting to make that move, and this weather just kind of kicked them in the face a little bit.
A little bit.
Okay. All right, man. Well, we hope to see you out here at another one, but congrats on the top 10 finish and grinding it out all weekend.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. All right, in the sixth spot, 68 and a quarter on day one, 57 and a quarter on day two, for a total of 125 and a half, taking home $1,150, Mr. Brian Delahunty. Hey, Brian.
Hey, AJ.
Tell everybody where you're from.
Well, now I'm from Alabama.
All right, so you moved down to Alabama, and now you've come up to fish with us here on Watts Bar. How did your week play out for you?
Got up here Tuesday, tried to fish. First two ramps were closed. Went out for a couple hours. It was just too cold. Went out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, pre-fishing. Thursday, finally just stumbled upon something. Went back to the last time I fished a super cold tournament in February. And I was surprised to start finding fish up shallow against wood. Super slow presentation. Most of the fish I caught, you might feel them bite, you might not. Didn't even know they were there until you tested it a little bit. And then what happened today was, I think same thing a lot of people experienced. Once that water came up about halfway through the day, the bite just died. It just went away. Yeah.
Did you have a little situation happen to you late on day one?
Yeah, just so if there's anybody else who doesn't pay attention like I do, you gotta take your picture by the end of fishing. So I had the biggest fish I caught yesterday. Was a 16.5, and I was fishing with another guy, and he remembers me yelling. When I got it in the net, I looked down at my graph, and it said 459. And I'm like, yeah, 459. Never occurred to me, hurry up and take the picture. So I took my time, put it on the donkey leash, cleared my deck, got my board ready, snapped the picture, sent it to AJ, and of course AJ's like, Brian, there's a little problem here. You're 52 seconds over. And that would have been a 4-inch upgrade for me. So I hope whoever's finished in front of me is more than 4 inches away.
Yeah, they are. So it was one of those lessons that hurt in the moment, but it didn't hurt in the final stage.
Yeah, I was more mad at myself because, I'm sure I knew, but I never really thought about it. And I've always fished till the final second, just thinking, okay, well, we have to just keep fishing. And I've never caught a last second fish. So the next step of that process really didn't occur to me. Yeah, if you catch one last second, you better hurry up and one of the guys I was staying with said, look, even if you just slap it on the board and take a picture and the mouth is open, you'll get a deduction, but it'll still count.
Yeah,
You
I've
know.
had people that typed in numbers that are letters or just things that were not correct in
Right.
that fish because they're in that hurry. I've never been in that position either, so I can't imagine how difficult it is to know you have literally seconds to get that done. And, you know, kayak anglers normally have their system of, you know, you rest your fish, you get your ID out, you
Yep.
get your phone ready. Everybody has their own system, and sometimes that system is taking time and doing it right. But in that moment, you just got to get it done. And I'm really happy that that fish didn't end up costing you. But hopefully that other people that are in that position to catch that last second fish can kind of learn from this. You know, to have that Hail Mary fish, that last second fish, is one of the coolest feelings in a competition. And we kind of had to take that away from you. But
Well,
you still ended up.
It cost me emotionally.
Yeah.
I'll be scarred for a long time because of that.
Yeah, you know, but luckily it didn't cost you in any other capacity. Your placement is still what it would have been with or without that fish. And, you know, you end up going home with a good check. You've got some great points for the Far Wide Angler of the Year race. We know you're trying to get back to the Tournament of Champions. Do you have an event that's coming up that you're looking forward to fishing with us?
Probably the next, not going to make it to Oklahoma. We'll go to Dardanelle again.
Awesome. Should be a great tournament this spring. Anybody you want to thank?
I really want to thank the guys that we all kind of stayed in the same place, just the little fishing group we had, Bert and Adam and Derek and Paul. I mean, we all miss having the big gatherings, but having other people around you to bounce ideas off of and to, you know, to share your pre-fishing stories and tips and stuff with. And then Joe from Cleveland, I want to thank him. He fished basically side by side with me all day today. All my fish I caught off probably a 250-yard stretch of bank. And he was there fishing yesterday, fished there with me today. And it helps a lot when you have somebody, when you're trying to grind it out, and you're like, you know, God, this sucks. And they just say, hey, come on, we're going to get another one. It's your turn, get another one. So I just want to thank those guys.
Absolutely, and Joe ended up doing pretty good too. I think he's you know, a couple places out of the money with him grinding it out. So that's one of the great things about this community, and within our rules right now, you know, you're allowed to kind of have that communication and things like that. And so way to utilize that and just kind of showcase this kayak fishing community even more. Thanks, Brian.
All right, thanks, AJ.
All right, top 5. Our day 1 leader with 88.5 on day 1, 43 inches today for 131.5, taking home $1,250. Nick Matthews. Nick, tell everybody where you're from.
Noblesville, Indiana.
All right, and you crushed them on day 1, man. 88.5, just an awesome limit. Really, any time of year on any fishery. Tell us a little bit about day 1.
Day 1, I found a bluff wall in practice. I only had 3 hours worth of practice, but I found 4 fish. One was a 19-incher, but I kind of knew they were kind of in the sun on the bluff wall, and I was just dragging a Ned rig, and the smallmouth started biting, and that's how I really did good. So.
You didn't have just smallmouth, right? You kind of had a mixed bag throughout the weekend. Were the largemouth kind of hanging in the same areas, and you just didn't know what it was until you hooked up?
Yeah, they were in the exact same areas as the largemouth.
Yeah. What changed for you today? I mean, you still got 3 fish in. That last fish was, you know, I think in the last 15 minutes of fishing time, kind of helped you jump up a couple places. What changed today that, do you think you just kind of ran out of fish, or were there conditions that changed for you?
Well, I kind of had a 2-mile bank that I was kind of fishing on myself. So I don't think I ran out of fish. I think just that water coming up kind of just crushed my bite. I don't think they were there anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Just so many condition changes in a small period of time really affected the bite, I think, this weekend. Well, I mean, last year you had a good run. You qualified for the TOC. Now you've got a top 5 finish. That's some great points to start your season. Is there an event coming up in the next couple that you're going to look forward to fishing with us?
Yeah, I'm going to go to Broken Bow.
Okay. Yeah, Broken Bow is just in 2 weeks. It's got, you know, great pedigree, some big fish, lots of fish, really unique fishery. and you know, definitely some opportunity for some more Angler of the Year points. Is there anybody you want to thank?
My mom and my dad and my girlfriend for letting me come down here and doing this, and Sun Valley Sports in Indy. They're having a boat show right now, so if you want to stop by, I'll be there next weekend to talk kayaks. So
Yeah. In-store boat shows are, I guess,
Yeah.
a thing this year, right?
yeah,
Yeah, the Indy show's always been a great boat show, that part of the country, and that store's always shown out great up there. So, you know, for all the dealers and folks out there that are not able to go to boat shows and do the things they normally do, make sure you stop by the stores and support them for what they're doing in these times where we're just not able to do the stuff that we'd like to do. Well, Nick, we appreciate you, man, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
all right, thank you.
Yep. All right, we got the top 4 now, and all 4 of these anglers are going to be now qualified for our Tournament of Champions on Lake Eufaula in Eufaula, Alabama. That is our 50 Angler Championship, where these anglers will be fishing. You know, if we continue on our pace, they'll be fishing for over $75,000. That'll be paid out to the top 10. So that's an amazing event. One of the most sought after qualifying opportunities in kayak fishing, and these guys on a really tough weekend were able to get qualified. The reason why we've got 4 is because one of these anglers is already qualified, so we'll work through that. In the 4th spot, 76 1/4 on day 1, 63 1/2 today, for a total of 139 3/4 inches, taking home $1,600, Matt Millard. Matt, tell everybody where you're from, bud.
I'm from about 2 hours up the road, Tri-Cities area, just outside of Kingsport.
Okay, so kind of you're local-ish as a Tennessee angler, but not, you've got to pass a bunch of good fisheries to get down here. So do you come to Watts Bar very often?
I had never fished Watts Bar in my life. I come down last month and pre-fished for 2 days. I caught more white bass and drum than I did bass on that trip. I think I caught 2 bass on the whole trip. And then it's kind of more of the same on Friday. Didn't catch a bass all day, so.
Well, you saved them all for you know, these 2 days of competition. Now, I think, was it 9 total fish, or did you have a full limit?
No, I had 9 fish. I actually broke one off this morning, and I had a feeling that that was going to be pretty costly. Yesterday I got 5 bites, got all the 5, you know, in the boat, and today I got 5 bites and only put 4 of them in the boat. That was kind of the difference.
What were you doing to get those bites in these super tough conditions?
I tried everything. Friday, if you'd have looked at beside my seat in the Hobie, I mean, I probably had 10 or 12 lures right there. I cycled through everything I could think of and kind of picked a place blind. And when I went there, I kind of went to what I thought should work at this time and just kind of stuck to it. And it ended up being, I picked up a few on Alabama rig early in the morning. And then after that, it was a little 2.8 Kitech on a 1/4 ounce head.
Tell me a little bit about when you have such a tough pre-fishing and just don't feel like you're on anything. I mean, coming into an event, I mean, what kind of still motivated you to want to fish and still participate, knowing that, like, you just weren't on it? I mean, I know that some people get really mentally distraught if they're not on them pre-fishing, but, you know, pre-fishing can be good and bad. And sometimes it can hurt worse than it can help. So, you know, you were able to showcase not being on them and then putting together 9 fish that got you a $1,600 check.
Yeah, I mean, when I come down a month ago, I kind of had I was not worried so much about catching fish. Obviously, I wanted to, but I just wanted to get familiar with the lake more than anything. And I tried to hit as many ramps as I could and at least get an idea, which I didn't end up fishing anything that I fished on that trip. But I've always kind of been good at grinder tournaments. I mean, this is just my 2nd year kayak fishing, but, you know, on our local club, any tougher tournaments, I seem to do well, and just got to stay in it and just till the very end.
Yeah, you know, the fish you catch pre-fishing might help you, but they don't count on tournament day, so it's still a new day to get out there, and definitely we encourage everybody, if, you know, pre-fishing is just that. don't get discouraged going into the tournament, because it can still happen. As this tournament definitely showed, there was a lot of people that didn't catch fish in pre-fishing that are going home with checks. So anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting on the tournament. This is my first Hobie tournament I've fished. I'm going to try and make it to Eufaula now. I didn't know that I'd qualified until you said that a second ago. So I'm going to try and put a few more on the schedule if I can. But thank you guys. Thank my family for putting up with me traveling to do this, and all the friends that sent me messages last night and today checking on me to see how I was doing and cheering me on.
Yeah, man, I mean, you're now one of 50 anglers from all over the country that are going to be competing for hopefully around $75,000. I know that's just kind of hitting you right this moment, but that's got to be an exciting feeling. Anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, I didn't know that. I guess I'm glad Ryan was in the top 3. But no, that was one of the things that I was a little frustrated with myself for not getting that limit. That was my ultimate goal. Was I felt like if I had 10 fish at the end of the 2 days, that I would really be sitting pretty good. And I was really wanting to be in that top 3 to get a chance to go to Eufaula. So I'm very happy for that.
Absolutely, you were right. I mean, there was only 3 people that caught 5 fish limits each day, and they are the next 3 people that we're going to talk to. So
Yep.
9 fish got you a great check, got you qualified, very close to a top 3 finish, man, but all the rest of the accolades are there. So congratulations. We appreciate you coming out and fishing with us for your first time.
Thank you.
All right, 3rd spot. $73 3/4 on day 1, 68 inches today for a total of $141 3/4. Taking home this big check, $2,000. A former national champion, qualified for the tournament champions last year, qualified for the tournament champions this year, Mr. Kurt Smits. Put that right there. Let me get you your hardware, sir. Kurt, tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Right. And had you ever been down to Watts Bar before?
No, never been here, never seen the lake.
I mean, it's kind of got some things that you like. I mean, for one, it's got every species of fish known to man.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows that you're an Ohio River fisherman, and when you're not chasing bass, you are chasing everything else.
Yep.
You know, that's kind of been the story of the week. People were like, can this be a drum tournament? Can this be a white bass tournament? Can we please catch catfish? It was one of those weeks where everything else was biting, but the bass just weren't. But they were for you. You caught 10 fish that were able to be submitted to our Tourney X app. One of only 3 anglers that were able to do that for 2 days. What did it take for you to make that happen?
So, you know, I recently uploaded 2 videos to YouTube, and it is textbook, those 2 videos. I mean, I followed a creek all the way up to the shallows, looking for where the bass were hanging out for the pre-spawn, because they got to be somewhere, and they weren't far from the spawning flats. It was a little pocket. It was 8 to 10 feet deep. The spawning flats were like 3 feet on either side of it, and they were just sitting in there waiting. That's what they were doing. And man, once I got up in there, it was, you know, the funny thing is I found it the first day I came down here because the area looked so good. There was so much going on with it. But I didn't catch it. I caught 1 bass up there. And then I was kind of bummed out. I could see him on my fish finder, so I left. And then the last 2 hours of pre-fishing, I was like, I got to go back. I think they're going to bite this white bass bait that I hadn't tried yet, that I dug out from the bottom of my bin. I had 1 pack just happened to be in there. I pull it out, and yeah, as soon as I got there, with 10 casts, I had 5 fish. I left. And that was it.
It kind of helped set you up. You know, obviously you had a good day 1. You had a good fish on day 2, and you were able to fetch your limit. Do you feel like that just kind of ran out of the size fish you were hoping to catch, or do you think that there were other variables at play?
I don't think there were any size in there.
Yeah.
That was the only place I found bass on the whole lake. I mean, I pounded perch. I caught a giant catfish. I was catching big walleye. I caught big drum. I mean, I was having a great time pre-fishing.
I just wasn't catching black bass very much. And when I found them there, that was the only place I had to go. That was it. I was like, I'm all in because that's all I got.
Well, you got qualified for the TOC early last year. Now you're qualified early this year, but now we're moving in. I mean, you got paid at Seminole, so a nice top 20 finish, paid here. Now we're back into the Angler of the Year race. What's your next event that you're looking forward to, trying to get some good points and chasing that opportunity again?
Darnell.
Dardanelle?
Darnell.
Yeah. All right. So it sounds like a lot of people are looking forward to Dardanelle. Should be a little different type of bite. Not so much early pre-spawn. It could be pre-spawn into spawn that time of year. It's awesome fishery, and it sounds like we're going to have some absolute hammers fishing with us on that one.
Yeah.
Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank Hobie. I want to thank you for putting on this amazing event because I've always had a blast at all these events. I want to thank Strictly Sail. I want to thank St. Croix, Fishing Online, Yak Attack, Dakota, Catch, and just everyone who, I had so many people reach out to me during the event. I had to turn the ringer off on my phone. I still haven't gotten back to everybody. And man, the outpouring of support is just awesome. This community and how everyone comes together, we all compete, but we're all still friends. It's just awesome.
Absolutely, man. Well, congratulations. I know it feels good to get that qualifier under your belt and kind of fish a little pressure free through the rest of the year, and everybody's going to have to watch out now. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
All right, second. Got a little tight for first and second. That's what we're dealing with when we're, having smaller fish and quarter inches in this thing. But these guys earned it, and we're gonna let them talk about it here. So on the first day, had 68.5. Had a good jump up today, 80 3/4, for a total of 149 1/4, taking home $3,000. Ewing Minor. We got some hardware over here too, man. Ewing, tell everybody where you're from and who you're representing now.
I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, and I go to school in Jefferson City, which is an hour down the road at Carson Newman University. But so I was able to stay in my dorm this week, and just nice to be this close. I love this lake. Don't usually bass fish here. I come for the stripers, but every time I fish for stripers, I catch big bass. So I figured I should fish it since I was close.
Awesome, man. Well, what did it take for you to find fish this week? I heard you say that you only had a day to come out and kind of pre-fish, and it was earlier in the week, and obviously everybody that followed the weather this week, so much change as far as the conditions, but were you able to apply what you found and maximize that on tournament day?
I mean, I haven't been out here all week. I came out before even practice started and had classes all week and couldn't make it down here. But when I came down here, I caught them on a lipless crankbait and a jerkbait, and I came down expecting to do that. And yesterday, caught all of my fish. Well, all but 2 of them on a lipless, and then I caught 2 others on a square bill. Found some warm water and decided to fish up shallower. And then today, when that water came up, I didn't know what it was going to do to the fish, but the creek that I was fishing was originally really muddy, and it pushed that dirty water back further into the creek. So I slowed down a little bit and threw a jerkbait, and I caught some really solid fish. And sadly, early in the morning, I hooked one, and it wrapped me up, broke me off, and I was like, I wonder how big that one was. It came up and did one of those jumps where it couldn't quite get out of the water, and it was probably 5 or 6 pounds. But it hurts, but second place, can't complain at all.
Definitely can't complain about second place, but you're coming off of a top 20 and a paid at Lake Seminole 2 weeks ago. You just qualified for the Tournament of Champions, which is so hard to get into. How does that feel, man? All of a sudden, you're going to be one of our leading anglers in the Angler of the Year race, and you're already in the top 50 of the best anglers in this series this season. 2 events in, how's that feel?
It feels really good to be already qualified. Already planning on fishing a 3rd one for AOY points, but it's just nice to have this out of the way already, so I don't have to be sitting here for a couple months worried about the next tournament. I know I'm already qualified, and that's a great feeling.
Absolutely, man. Anybody you want to thank?
Once again, I'd like to thank Dugout Bait and Tackle and Jamie Koza. I was in his kayak once again this week.
That's a lucky kayak.
It is a lucky kayak.
Why can't Jamie catch anything out of it?
I don't know. He probably doesn't fish out of it enough.
Those of us that spend a lot of time working don't get to spend a lot of time fishing, so I know that life. But I'll let you keep going on.
I'd also like to thank my roommate. Since I drive an SUV, didn't have a trailer, I couldn't get a PA-14 on top of my car. He let me use his truck, drive all the way down to Georgia, and pick up the kayak and use it all week.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations, and we'll look forward to seeing you at one of the events later this year, and definitely seeing what you'll be able to do on our biggest stage in Eufaula, Alabama this fall.
And I had one last thing.
Yes, sir.
So there were 2 other anglers that put in at the same ramp that I put in at this morning, and they knew that I was in contention to place well or possibly win it, and they left that creek and they went and pedaled to another creek so I could have that to myself, and it wouldn't be possible without them.
That's awesome. That's great, man. That speaks so much about this community. Even on competition day, you've heard other anglers sit up here at this event and other events talk about this community and how they can be. That's the example on what it looks like for the ultimate sportsmanship and respect to an angler that's in that position. And congratulations to those guys for just being awesome, and congratulations to you, man, for another great finish. So close, 3/4 of an inch to holding the bigger check, but man, I think you're on this trajectory right now. It's got to feel pretty good. So we'll look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, and first, most consistent limits of the weekend. Had 74 on day 1, 77 on day 2 for 151 total inches, taking home $5,250, sitting on 2-0 in national tournaments in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm sure we're going to hear about that often. Mr. Ryan Lambert, our reigning grand champion of the Tournament of Champions. Grab that for me. I'll get you your hardware.
All right.
Ryan, tell everybody where you're from.
So I'm from Jasper, Tennessee, right down the road here. I fish with the Tennessee Valley Kayak Anglers. Myself, Steve Owens, AJ is now a director with us as well. And I don't get up this way too much.
Yeah, I mean, had you most of TVKA's events are on Lake Chickamauga. Obviously, it's closer and it's got a lot of big bass in it. But Watts Bar is up the river a little bit from there. And how often do you get out here? How many times have you seen this fishery?
I fished up here one time 6 years ago. That was it. So I got out Friday. I thought I was going to be able to pre-fish. I had to work all day doing conference calls. I fished an hour. I went to the south end near Watts Bar Dam. I pulled up to the ramp and there was bait everywhere, shad kill, and I said, I'm not fishing the lake. So I'd been talking to Eric Thomason, old pro himself from Knoxville here. He said, man, we're not on anything. You want to just do a river float? I said, yeah, sure. Why not? So we did a river float. I stumbled up on a small section of grass and I fished that grass for 2 days.
What did it take, man? I mean, when you were fishing the grass in the Tournament Champions, you were really kind of balancing out kind of a jackhammer Ned rig pattern. Was that something similar you used this weekend?
Oddly enough, I balanced out a jackhammer Ned rig pattern in this grass. Yesterday was mostly Ned rig. Today I got one on a Ned early. I had to switch to like a Kurt Smith special with a big TRD Texas rig. Caught a couple on it, but then the bite died. It stayed dead for a while. Once the wind started blowing, I busted out the jackhammer. I was looking at the leaderboard. I love keeping up with this stuff. I love watching the live leaderboard. Thanks to Dwayne at Tourney X, you know, it's great. You know, I'm I'm watching Ewing just smash him, and in my head, I'm doing the math. I'm like, I know what I need. I need to catch a 19-inch bass right now. About 30 minutes later, I caught a 19. So I'm a quarter-inch behind him, and I'm like, if I can get, you know, against the wind, against the current, if I can get back to that grass patch, I know that I can cull this fish. So I got up there and made about 6 casts and culled 2 inches, and here we are.
Awesome, man. Well, you know, you already qualified for Tournament of Champions on Lake Eufaula by winning the Tournament of Champions last year on Fort Loudon and the rivers above Knoxville. But now you've got this first place. It's your first win on one of our open events, your highest finish ever. I know that you've got some other goals. I know you're going to be at some other events. How are you feeling as you work towards the season and trying to work towards some Angler of the Year opportunities?
I want to keep pushing. I've got a few kind of targets. Don't tell Jeff, but I'm probably going to fish Dardanelle now. But Hartwell, I want to do the Susky, and I've really got my eye on Pickwick. Pickwick, if I had to pick one that I was going to swing hard at, it's Pickwick and Eufaula. I'm going to take a lot of trips down to South Alabama. I want to go back to back.
Heard that, man. Definitely, going to be difficult to do. It sounds like you're going to put the work in to do it. Anybody that you want to thank for this opportunity and the success you've had out here this weekend?
Again, Jamie Coe's in the dugout. Jamie takes care of, my boats, my tackle, absolutely everything. He's great. Z-Man, what I caught everything on. Plano, Cal Coast Fishing, and Mustang Survival. I want to thank the mayor of Knoxville. He called on the way over here. He's given me a key to the city since I keep winning all these tournaments up here.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations. And on that note, I mean, we don't know which fishery we're going to be at, but we're always going to come back to Knoxville, whether it be for our biggest event or one of these opens. This community loves having the kayak anglers here. They're so supportive, and there's so many rivers and lakes that we can just spread out on and have these opportunities. So we're definitely going to be back to Knoxville. You've got a heck of a record here, just like my Kentucky Wildcats do recently. But I got to get my shots in when I can.
Boy,
we're still horrible. But all right, man. Thank you. Congratulations.
Yep, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Look forward to seeing what you're going to be able to do the rest of the season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that kind of wraps up this event. This was the second stop of our 10-event series. Next up on the list is Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Go ahead and get registered. Let's see if we can blow it up. We know that part of the country not only travels well, but it's easy to get to for a lot of other people. So we're looking forward to seeing not only what that fishery can do, but what the anglers are going to do to show out. We're averaging 135 anglers per event so far into 2. We can't wait to see what the support's going to look like for our numbers, but also in building up that Tournament of Champions pot. And finally, I want to say thanks again to the Hobie staff, not just here on site, but also everybody back in California that help us make this event go so smoothly. I want to give a big shout out to Knoxville. They're amazing hosts. Come to Knoxville. They've got so much to offer. I want to give big thanks to the folks here at the Staybridge Suites in West Knoxville. They've been awesome to us all weekend. And just I want to give a big shout out to everyone that follows these events, shares our posts, promotes these anglers, roots for these anglers, even when they can't come to these events. You all, this community is what this is all about. And that's why we build these events up for you guys and for what you're doing, not just here, but outside of that. And finally, thank you to everybody that came to this event. It was brutal. Travel was tough. Everybody has an awful travel story for this event. Thank you guys for your support. I will do better about trying not to schedule things in February that are, further north than you'd like to go. So thank you all so much again. And, 94 anglers, they showed out and we cashed some big checks and we're on to the next one. Thanks.